What happens when you're born into a world where love comes with a manual, where your worth is measured by compliance, and where questioning the system isn't just discouraged, it's forbidden? Well, today's guest, Sean Faingold, knows because he was born into a cult that promised salvation while delivering destruction. Well, welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and today we're diving into one of the most confronting conversations I've ever had the privilege to witness. Sean Faingold's story isn't just about surviving, though. It's about the brutal journey from conditional love to authentic freedom, from the suffocating control of the Jehovah Witnesses to finding his own voice in a world that tried to silence him. Born into a religious system that demanded perfection while offering conditional acceptance, Sean's childhood was marked by the devastating combination of cult control, relentless bullying, and a family structure that taught him his emotions were weaknesses and his questions were sins. When addiction entered his world, it became another weapon in a system designed to keep him ashamed, controlled, and silent. But it's not just another story about, leaving a cult. This is about what happens when a young man discovers that everything he was taught about love, worth, and masculinity was designed to break him. Sean's mission now, to challenge misogyny, I can't pronounce it, misogyny, head on through social media, to create safe spaces where men can finally express their emotions without shame, and to help others recognize the signs of emotional manipulation that nearly destroyed him, right? I feel this conversation today is, it's going to take you places that might feel uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for Sean, and I have to commend him on his bravery, his vulnerability, because this, though, is where growth always does, right? It makes us feel uncomfortable. Anyway, we're going to explore how religious trauma shapes our understanding of love and how bullying creates wounds that echo for decades, and why Sean believes that addressing misogyny isn't just important, it's really urgent. Part one of Sean's story starts here on Leading Our Own Way. Please go and press the follow button on all the channels that you're listening to and give us a review. And also, he's the partner of my previous guest, Catherine Pascoe. Please go and listen to that episode too. That's fascinating. Anyway, here's Sean myself. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Sean Faingold, welcome to Leading Our Own Way. How are you tonight, brother?
Good, Andy. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking me. Yeah, I'm really good. Had a pretty good day. It's been pretty cold here in Australia, hasn't it? Have you?
Yeah, last couple of days has been warming up, thank goodness. But yeah.
For those who are listening on the other side. Oh, sorry, I cut you off then. But for those who are living on the other side of the world, here in Australia, we're going through a point where it's really cold in the morning, but now when it gets in the day, the sun's actually quite nice to be around, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, especially now, especially August.
Having said that, I went to do my cold plunge this morning, and there was ice around the edge.
Nice. What temperature was it?
It was around 5. The water inside under the cover was about 5 degrees, but I'm guessing the water that was on the ice on top of the lid, that was the bit that was icing. I had to crack it to get in, but the ice wasn't inside. I would have liked the ice inside, to be fair. Well, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, 5 degrees. That's impressive.
Yeah. I love it. Bit colder the better for me. Well, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Too cold and I start to go red.
Well, I went to stand on the grass afterwards, and my feet really started to burn.
Yeah. Relatable.
Well, Sean, this is about you, not about me. Thanks for joining me on my journey. I really appreciate it, because I know tonight is a moment you're going to be vulnerable, and you have a bit of you were recommended to me from a former guest of mine, Miss Catherine.
Yes.
That was a great episode.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I remember sharing it on on my stories as well, and on a couple of my reels, and then you reached out and you said thank you, and then yeah, we got talking a bit.
And
Now we're
you
here.
yeah, and you have quite the journey.
Mm.
You're on a bit of a mission. Can you tell us a little bit about your mission that you're on?
So my mission is to help as many men as I can to be safe for themselves, to be safe for women, to be safe for society. And what that looks like is I make anti-misogynistic content, predominantly on Instagram. So it's content that challenges different kind of belief systems or that are founded around patriarchy or around entitlement, around religion, all those kind of things that intertwine. So my mission is to um, show people who I am, what I think, they resonate with that, and it helps challenge their belief systems, then they can stick around and learn a little bit more, learn a bit more about what I've learnt as well, and just help if they're a little bit curious, if they feel a little bit lost, which a lot of men are, then they're free to stick around. If not, then they're not quite ready for it.
Yeah. So if somebody from who was listening came to your social media platform, what would they find, and what would they feel, and do you think they would see in
Well,
their eyes?
in my profile description, it's basically what I say is I call out the Manosphere joke. And what that looks like, if you're unfamiliar with the Manosphere, it's essentially a movement that's just recently come up in the last decade. That's basically, it's a kickback to feminism. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a group of men that are not happy with the feminist movement. They've interpreted it their own way, and they're fighting against it with using men's rights or men's mental health, which men's mental health is very important. But I often find that they can use that as a crutch, or use it as a way to overshadow other important issues, rather than having them as two separate issues that are just as important as each other. So they'll find a little bit, sometimes a lot of it is humor based, sometimes it's I'll be reacting or responding to a video that is just absolutely ridiculous, or sometimes even dangerous, the content that's being posted. So I like to try and level it out and set it straight based on my viewpoints, because I do understand where a lot of these men are coming from based on my own past and my own experience. So it varies from that. Sometimes it varies to some triggering statements, which I'm in the process of refining. And when I say triggering statements, I'll say something that's more of a blanket statement, which that's the part that I'm refining at the moment. It's a statement that will get men, or sometimes women, but predominantly men, it'll get them engaging with the content. And that I find is an opportunity for them to read through the comments and have other people engaging with them. And they slowly start to learn. They can either come at it from a place of understanding, or they can come at it from a place of projection. So there's that kind of content, which I'm kind of leaning away from, because I don't, blanket statements or using that can often be a lazy way of producing the content, rather than going in a little bit deeper, which I'm capable of doing. So I'm more directing it into perhaps something a little bit more deeper, a little bit more engaging for the audience, and a little bit more challenging for their belief systems as well. So when they look at someone, when they look up to someone like Andrew Tate, they can see somebody challenging it from a different perspective, and then it gives people the option to go, is there a point here? Or no, I'm not ready to listen to that point. I like the former way of thinking, because that suits me and that works for me.
Could you give us an example of some of the things you may have shared or discussed, where people have come to you maybe agreeing, or come to you at a different angle as well?
I'd say one of my most engaging videos is me responding to one of Andrew Tate's rants. He talks about how um, feminism has done nothing. Patriarchy built everything. Patriarchy built the roads. They built the computers. They built this. They built that. And my response to that, which I found, I was very happy with that video and I was very proud of it. And my response to that was, um, what a world we live in. You preach about patriarchy and wow, what a world we live in. A world that's, I let that out there for interpretation as well, because we're not living in a very safe world, and I just let that kind of stew and mull. But what I did was I pointed out Hedy Lamarr, who is an actress, inventor. Um, I forget the technology, FASS technology, or where she was working with frequencies that were also used in Wi-Fi. I hope I've got that technology correct. That could be wrong. I've probably just got the acronyms wrong.
That's okay.
So she created that. She created that with George Antheil. And I just went into a little bit more detail about how a woman had a great idea and she built it with a man. And there was no real division there. It wasn't that George Antheil was the creator. It wasn't that Hedy Lamarr was the idea or the brains or even the co-creator to it, because she had a bit of involvement in creating and building it as well. It was about, they both worked together. And that was the message, was that why are we doing this? Why are we pushing that men are better than women or women are better than men when we can work together? It's about working through your own wounding, your own ego, your own entitlement, and putting things aside and trying to work together. And unfortunately, that doesn't work for everyone. But the video was basically about challenging that belief system, that it's not about who's better. It's about how can we put this aside and come together and create something that works.
Yeah, and so you said you had a bigger following with men. What's the percentage between the men and females and that come to you?
Now it's actually, I did it the other day. It's actually a very low male following compared to what it used to be. So it's actually a lot of women are following as well. So with anti-misogynistic content, and if I'm using logic and if I'm using resources and information and research that I've used, and a lot of women are agreeing with it, that indicates to me that I'm saying and doing the right thing. If I state a fact, I'll give an example. I'll answer your question first, that right now it's about 28% men.
Wow.
And so there'll be 72% women that are following. But for instance, the 72%, I put up a response, I think it was only a couple of days ago, that a man was saying something around on the lines of, why do women dress the way that they do if they are so scared of what men will do to them? But why do you continue to wear less? And I did a bit of research on it. I brought up the What Were You Wearing exhibition as well, and that is, trigger warning around it. It's an exhibition of what women were wearing when they got SA'd or assaulted. So, and it actually goes from normal clothing or adult clothing, and it goes down to children's clothing. So it actually shows, and there's plenty of videos of it online. It's actually really hits hard. And the point of that was to go, it doesn't matter what a woman wears. A predator is going to behave like a predator. And this isn't about attacking men. When women say that they want to, that they hate all men, it's not the men that they hate. It's that they hate predators. And they're not sure who is a predator. Like the man versus bear Would you, who would you feel safer with, a bear or a man in the woods? That whole thing. A lot of men don't understand it. They view it as an attack, but it's like, put yourself, the shoe on the other foot and just put yourself in a woman's situation. I gave the example of like when you play Russian roulette, you've got a 1 in 6 chance. It's a very low chance, but would you take that chance? You don't know who you're getting involved with. You don't know who is a predator and who's not. And that's where women feel unsafe. And it doesn't matter what they wear, because a predator is going to engage with them because they are a predator in the end of the day. And so it's challenging those belief systems, but there's I will throw out facts, and I'll throw out research, and I'll throw out hard-hitting things, and there's always someone in the comment section that will debate it. And that is, what's the saying? Every accusation is a confession. So it's just something that they're not quite ready to embody themselves. They don't want to listen. It's just, you're just here to be loud. You're not here to listen to the content. You're not here to engage in the content. You're not here to support it. You're just here to make noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of men will be supportive in my following, and I get maybe 1 or 2% that always clap back something to disagree with me. I'm like, cool, but you're still following.
It's very true. They're feeding your algorithm there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
What I think you're very good at, and when I've been on, is when you show. I couldn't do this. You are very, very good at this. Where you'll display a comment and then break it down with evidence of and then other things pop on. I'm like, whoa, that blows me away. And you really come back at those comments. They're quite negative comments, I've noticed, or there might be a particular perception that you obviously don't agree with, but you want that other person to see all aspects of what they're trying to of that discussion point, and you've come back, and it's fantastic how you do it, so people understand what I'm going on about. I don't know if you could maybe share an example of where, even maybe probably the episode that I filmed with Catherine, you came back at someone's comment. Can you remember that? Can you share a little bit on that one?
Yeah. For those who don't know, Catherine's my partner, and that's how we got in contact. There was someone in my DMs whenever I posted Catherine on my stories, or posted the podcast to promote it. There was someone in the comment section just making little snide remarks, just like saying, "Oh, I'm sure you're with her for her personality and not her carefully curated looks," and all this stuff. So that's where I start to take it personally. I don't care what you say about me. I used to care years ago, but now it's like water off a duck's back. But for me, I just felt that need to say something. So I got those DMs and I showed that this person is in a relationship with someone. Like, why are you DMing me in the first place? Like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? And just pointed out, because my partner is very attractive as well, that you're assuming that people who are attractive don't have their own problems and just have everything put together. And you're just projecting your own insecurities here. So I think that's the reel that you were talking about, just taking that comment. And then basically what I do, to put it simply, when comments like that happen, or if I get DMs, I take that comment or I take that DM and I take the light and I shine it back on that person. And just like, great, this is a lovely comment. Let's talk about you. And then expose everything that's going on underneath. And yeah, so I appreciate you saying that you like that's
It's smart.
how I do it. Yeah.
It's really smart. It really is, and I don't think I'd have the balls to do it if I'm being honest. So
Yeah.
It's really, really fascinating, and it definitely hooks me in. And but I like it's good that people get pulled apart so they can see another side of their own viewpoint and going, okay, I maybe need to self-reflect. I might need to build some self-awareness of what I'm actually, what's going on with me. First of all, why am I even thinking or saying that? But for anyone who doesn't know what we're referring to, please go over to Sean's account, because you'll definitely learn a lot. How long? You've been doing the social media now for quite a few years, haven't you? 4 years,
Mm.
give or take.
Yeah, about 4 years now.
When did you
On and off.
see? Yeah, when did you see that platform kind of take off with what you do? Did I mean? I know I'm going to
Mm.
dig deep in a second about why you started this mission 4 years ago, but yeah, it started to change over the last year or so. What do you think, and why do you think that happened?
Um, well, I started I started everything with, like, from a trauma informed perspective. I did a lot of research, a lot of training around trauma, different modalities, and it was more of an educational platform on trauma. And I noticed that I was not enjoying it. I was working so hard on educating, and I just felt drained at the
Mm,
end of the day. And I was looking at other profiles and just, like, not trying to copy them, but I noticed that they had their own flair. And I noticed, like, what is it? Who am I? Who am I, and how can I bring that to the surface? How can I bring that to the camera without just sitting there in front of a camera just talking, and making people want to fall asleep? How can I do that? And I got a lot of inspiration from other creators who do also create non-misogynistic content. And I noticed how they were doing things, and I noticed, like, a pattern, and then I wanted to throw my own kind of flair on it as well. Different colors, different representations. Men, for instance, I don't know if you've watched Dragon Ball when you were younger, or know much about it.
no.
Um, it's an old cartoon, but it's about personal development. It's about growth. It's about resilience, and that's what this symbol is, and that's what this color is. So I
Yeah.
wear a lot of those shirts in it because it gets men's attention. Like, oh, he's wearing a Dragon Ball top. He's got
Yeah.
something to say.
Yes.
And I enjoy wearing this. I enjoy well, not representing, but I enjoy um, reflecting the values of what I learned from that as
Yeah,
well.
that's nice.
So, yeah, I've slowly just started to do things a little bit uh, differently along the way. Like, I would introduce something and just sort of find my own niche. And now it's forever changing. Like, even it was only like a few weeks ago where I thought to myself, I gotta stop making blanket statements, um, because I also don't want to push away good men as well. I don't want to say something that's and repeat myself over and over again and make somebody else feel invalidated for the hard work that they're putting in as well. So
Mm.
that's when I thought, I got to stop making these blanket statements. So I took a bit of a break for a couple of weeks and just sort of regrouped and gathered my thoughts. And now the content's going to look the same, but I'm just going to pull back on the blanket statements more so. And yeah, I'm going to pull back on the blanket statements more so, and start going a little bit deeper and start responding and educating a little bit deeper based on everything that I've learned as well.
So that's the refining part that you brought up earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. I like that. And so you have also started writing a bit of an emotional intelligence book.
Yeah, yeah. So I've started it. I'm hoping it'll be all completed in the next couple of months. It's just going to be a very simple workbook, basically for men. Just like I know that if I had that it wouldn't have changed my life straight away.
Mm,
But the aim of it is to plant seeds, is to
yeah.
plant seeds on how to help men with the cues of emotional intelligence. It's like, I have a thought, I have a story, and then try and tie in the feeling with that. so that they know what that feeling is when they have that story where they're like, so and so did that to me, therefore I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. So there's going to be prompts on which emotion it is as well.
Yeah.
And then also underneath all that, it's going to be more of a body mapping kind of process as well. Where do you feel that? And then it gets them in touch with where they're feeling, and it just brings out a bit more attunement within themselves, because if they're not attuned for themselves, they're not going to be able to be attuned for their partners as well. And a
Yeah.
lot of men, they really want to fix, they really want to help when they see their partners needing it, or needing it when sometimes they just need to be heard. But then having that awareness will help prompt other questions of asking them what they need, not just assuming what they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So
So that's going to be the structure of the book.
I like that. I like that. How long are we looking at until we can see a copy on my shelf over here?
Well, I want to see what direction to take it with. I just want it there completed first, and then when it comes to publishing,
Yeah.
that's where I want to explore. So if I self-publish, it'll be published a lot faster, and we could be looking at it in the matter of a couple of months.
Ah.
And if it's going to be through a publisher, then we're looking at a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's more the direction I need to focus on. Where am I going to take this?
Sure. Yeah. All right. I just wanted to go back to just before you started your social media platform. I want to kind of get in your head at that moment in time before you set up your Instagram account and thought, right, I'm going to go on a big ride here. I'm going to go on a big journey, a big mission. Where was your head at in, I want to say day, but it's not just a day. It's a build up, isn't it? Yeah. What is that build up to go, right, this is where I'm at. This is the platform. I'm going to do this because this is huge. Where does this all tie in for you?
So if this is more in the context of like, we'd be going back a very long time in order to lead to this point. But in regards to a social media platform, that was more in my previous relationship. I was married for 12 years. And it was more to the lead up of a big rupture in that relationship and in that marriage. And then moving forward, trying to repair that rupture. And if I stayed in that dynamic, a dynamic that was not good for either of us, I wouldn't have had the freedom and the freedom of expression to start my content and to start this program, or to start on this platform, I should say. So that was the lead up. There's a big story behind that as well, which I'm very open to and open to discussing. But that was the lead up. It was like, okay, I know that part of my healing is to be seen and to be heard. So now I have an opportunity to do that. I'm going to start it and see what it looks like, and slowly just refine along the way until something just feels absolutely right for me, and then I'm just going to go all in with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Just seeing what works.
So okay, let's go back to you. You said we've got a bit of a chapter there. Let's go back to the furthest point and kind of work back this way then, back to where we're in the present moment. You said a second ago it went very far back. How far back are we looking at?
Well, I was actually born and raised in a cult. So it goes back as far as that, really.
What were you born into then?
I was born and raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
And for somebody that doesn't know much about Jehovah's Witnesses, give us a little breakdown before you go into your bit of a journey there, because this is very obviously very sensitive for you, and you're going to be vulnerable, which obviously I appreciate. Just give us a bit of a definition for those who don't know what they are, or don't know much about the cult, as you've put it.
So people outside of the cult, the best way for them to describe it and label it would be to classify it as a doomsday cult. So the foundation of it is that any day now, we don't know the time, we don't know the date, God is going to step in and he's going to put an end to all the wickedness on the planet. And if you're good and you believe in that particular God, you'll be saved, and you'll get to live on Earth forever in a paradise, just like Adam and Eve had. And if you don't, you get destroyed, basically.
Yeah.
So that started for me a shame cycle. Shame cycle. If I did something wrong as a child or something, I was like, oh, I'm bad. I'm going to be destroyed at Armageddon, at Doomsday. This day that I don't know when it is going to be, but I'm already a bad person.
Yeah.
So it started that shame cycle. They have many belief systems. It's very fundamentalist based. No birthdays, no Christmas, no Easter. The only thing they celebrate is their wedding anniversaries, basically. So that was also like lots of control around self-expression. So you have to wear things, you have to behave a certain way, and if you don't, you get told off for it, or you get in trouble for it.
So your childhood, if I grew up alongside you and I was your brother, what would I see you going through?
I was very quiet. I was very quiet. I was a very sensitive child. And I knew the best way to feel safe was to stay quiet. Because there wasn't just that, there was also the family side of it as well. So my parents, they did the best that they could with the tools that they had. And I'm not here to talk negatively about them. And I still love them. But there was also that part introduced as well, in that there's a reason why a child stays quiet, because they know that if they speak up, that equals danger. So yeah, so I grew up in an environment where things were conditional, and that wasn't, or whether it was love was conditional, approval was conditional, there were conditions. And that's the behavior, so that was intertwined with the church as well. That's a pattern that the church used, that everything is conditional, that we love you, that God loves you, but if you do something wrong, there are conditions. We say that we still love you, but our behavior is going to reflect something very different. So you grow up with a very confusing kind of environment, that this person loves me, they feed me, they clothe me, but they also mistreat me in X, Y, and Z. So it was a very confusing, or more of a disorganized attachment, kind of confusing upbringing for me.
How? I mean, I don't know if I'm even allowed to ask this. It's not being allowed, but how would they mistreat you?
Because they had their own stuff to deal with. I think that they came into the religion themselves. So I was born into it, but they converted a few years before I was born. So I think it was more like a sense of belonging for them. So I think they felt very lost in a lot of ways, and they have their coping mechanisms as well, to kind of numb their own pain. But I think that was just a reflection of them. So I was more the sensitive one, the black sheep. So therefore, I was the emotional punching bag, basically, of the family for everyone.
And I mean, even like going to school. I mean, are you going to a typical state school? Are you going to a particular religious school? I'm trying to picture that.
Yeah, so it wasn't like commune based or anything like that. So we still lived a very, what looked like a normal life. So I still went to a public school. I could still get a job. I still worked and lived my life like normal. But the churches, or the kingdom halls, they were very regimented in, you have to go 3 to 4 times a week.
I'm going to have to stop you guys listening to the episode at this moment in time. We had a few extreme technical issues with the recording and the internet. It's not really happened too many times through my series of Leading Our Own Way. However, I believe it was meant to happen. It was definitely meant to happen. There was 3 weeks between what we've just listened to about what you're about to listen to. Sean texted me the next day and he explained how powerful the pause has meant for him in terms of his reflection. Sean's so much better at explaining that part to you guys. So we are going to continue with the episode, but it was important that you guys knew there was a break. We could have just continued. We could have carried on like nothing had happened, but we felt it was important for Sean's story, for Sean's journey, more like really, to be fair. It was fair that to his journey and the impact that it has in his self-reflection, his self-awareness. It's a powerful pause. Anyway, here's Sean and myself, and we're going to carry on with the episode now.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. And if I can actually add, I think it was actually a blessing too, that a blessing in disguise that we had those technical difficulties, because it actually gave me a little bit of space to actually sit with how I was feeling, because shortly after the next couple of days, I was actually feeling really anxious about everything I had shared so far. And even though I've come a long way, there were still those old patterns and those old belief systems coming in of, I need to be silent. If I do speak up, I'm going to be punished. And it gave me a bit of time to just kind of sit with it and to realize that there's nothing more that they can do to me. And that hit me on a whole different level. And it actually reminded me, because when it came to loyalty and that kind of indoctrination and also those internal family systems, my mum would always say something to me. She would always say, to like reinforce the priorities in the family, she would always say, just remember, Sean, blood is thicker than water. And what's interesting is that's not the full saying. So I only learned the full saying about a year ago, and it hit me hard, and I'm so happy to share it. The full saying is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So that means the people that are in your corner, they're the ones that matter. Not necessarily family, not necessarily the people that raised you. They're the people that are supporting you and the people that want the best for you and the ones that are cheering you on in your corner. So me speaking up, people like yourself that want to hear my story, my beautiful partner who wants to hear my story and she wants me to speak up about it, my friends that want me to speak up about it, that's who I'm doing it for. And that is still creates a lot of like tightness in my body, but it is also so liberating at the same time, because then I can lock in and go in a little bit, go to that next level and just feeling that motivation to share more.
Yeah, wow. I have to say, it's probably one of the most powerful moments I've had on Leading Our Own Way, because I've never done that before. We've never had, I mean, what was it, 3 weeks? I think it was 3 weeks ago. Yeah. 3 or 4. It's definitely 3 anyway. And yeah, we've never had that separation. So if you just go away and have that awareness, that self-reflection moment, that powerful moment, through the negative emotion, through the positive, how powerful it is that we sat here, even though you still went through that undesired, probably not negative, undesired emotions. Yeah, it's very powerful. So thank you, Sean, and I'm so glad you're back.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy to jump in and dive in a bit further. Where were we up to last time? It was you were asking about how the Kingdom Halls and how the JWs, how they were regimented and what it looked like, whether I was in a religious school or in a public school. And
yeah, that's where I led off. But before I do go there, because you just brought something up, I do want to ask you a question. Do you mentioned your close circle and your friends? I know you have a beautiful support from your partner Catherine, who, as mentioned before, has previously been on the podcast. But do you have a lot of close friends that value your journey and have heard you, and how have you felt after that? Have you felt judged? Have you felt that they heard it and took it on? Yeah, what? Because I find that part pretty interesting, even with my own journey. Because I know you're about to get into it, but I saw a lot of eyes rolling, and I even got thanked. I've not really shared this with anyone before, but I
Mm.
during my journey 9 years ago, 10 years ago, I remember getting thanked for not bringing it up when we went on a trip somewhere with. They're beautiful people.
Mm.
I still think they're beautiful people. They certainly didn't mean any harm, but I know from what I've learned about emotions since then, and self awareness and reflection and mental health decline and prevention, all of that. I
Mm.
remember them thanking me, and I took it on, going, "Yeah, I felt proud of myself that I didn't bring it up on that
Mm.
trip." But
Mm.
what I've learned is, wow, they didn't want to hear it. They were tired of it. They were sick of it. They were, they didn't want, yes, they didn't want to be brought down, but no one thought about me in the moment where I was sitting and it was still raw.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry for rambling on, but have
No,
you,
that's right. They didn't know how to
yeah,
hold it for you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. Not because they're horrible people. They
Yeah.
probably didn't know the depth of it, I suppose, for me. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, with
that's
with
just
your
where they were at.
friends. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I have a handful, and we'll get into that because I was outcast from the church. So I
Yeah.
lost my community at the start of COVID, right like 3 months before it all happened. So I lost my community and I had to basically rebuild from scratch. So I do have a handful of really close, really good quality friends, and that's all I really need. And they're in my corner. It's weird. It's weird because the things that I share with them, I would get silenced for in the old environment, but in this environment, they're just like, it's normal to hear about my expression, not what I've been through. Like when they hear what I've been through, they're like, "Whoa, what the
Mm.
fuck?"
Yeah.
But the expression side of it, they want to hear it. Like they ask how I'm doing. They're constantly checking in. So I have a handful that I've rebuilt because I had lots of friends coming out of it. Like I was making friends with as many people as I could, but they weren't necessarily quality people. So I had more quantity than quality. And now over the years, I've refined that down to like a very small handful of people that I
Yeah.
that I give my all to.
Yeah, beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful. Okay, thanks for that. I felt that was an important point to bring up.
Yeah.
So yes, you go to the what's the I apologize, I don't know the names of it, but the halls, you go there 3-4 times a week, just continuing from where we were. Um,
Mm.
dig a
Kingdom.
little bit there then. Yeah, what do you call it? Sorry,
They called it Kingdom Halls.
Kingdom
So
halls. Yeah,
their version of church, basically. So we would go there multiple times a week. So about 2 to 3 times a week, you'd go there. On top of that, there would be a book study. So you go to some like there'd be a group of people going to different members' houses to study deeper on the Bible for an hour once a week. And then on top of that, then there would be the option to go out daily door knocking. I don't know if you've seen them knocking on the door or seen them out in public, then there'd be that volunteered time structure. So time there is currency, basically. Like the more time that you give into it, the higher regard you're held as or you're held in. So it's not necessarily that they do still have the spiel of don't forget to donate, things like that. They still do have those spiels, but it's more putting your energy into it, into building, bringing more people in, basically. So that's the structure, and that's the indoctrination further when it comes to door knocking. So it's in your face every single day.
yeah. Well, just a quick one on the door knocking.
Mm.
What was the reaction to people at the door? Did the door ever get answered? Did you ever get any abuse or
Yeah,
just ignored?
all the above,
Yeah.
all the above. Uh, if I'll throw out a very common question that I get asked is, how many people did you convert?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
often what I get asked, and the answer is zero. So out of
Wow.
the 30 years that I was doing it, not 30 years, but I was like with my mum and with my dad when I was still like a toddler. Um, but in that whole process, not a single person came on board. Like a couple of people attended the churches, but no one was baptized. No one became a member, so to speak. So,
Yeah. Wow.
but yeah, there was abuse. No one answering the door. People answering the door saying we're not interested. But typically, there'd be more people disinterested than interested, whether that came
Yeah.
in the form of abuse or they came in the just go away. Yeah,
It's weird with zero conversion rates that model continued,
yeah.
right? Just I don't know.
Maybe,
It doesn't make sense.
yeah, yeah. Look, go back to the drawing board, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So that was the structure, and then on top of that, we were given homework as well. So it wasn't just going to the halls. It wasn't just going there. You had to do your daily Bible reading, and then you had to do your personal study, and then you had to do family study. So there was like all these things you had to do in the week. So even for a person that wasn't going out witnessing as of like going, or they called it that when door knocking, they call it witnessing. So when I was there, it might be different now, but when I was there, the minimum was 8 hours that you had to do
Mm.
for the whole month. So typically, if you go out 2 hours every Saturday, done. That's your minimum requirement. Um, I'm not sure what it is now. It could be different.
Yeah.
But there are some people that devote like 120 hours a month. They make it their whole life, essentially. It's their full-time job. They live very simply. They get a don't like they get funded for doing it as well. Very little funding, but they live very simply, and their entire life is just that missionary work, that missionary kind of life. So
Wow.
yeah, the level of it, and then they've got their own publications that they take from the encyclopedia. They cherry pick certain things that they can find applicable, and then say, look at this fact about nature, or about this, or about science, or about isn't God amazing? And then they would
Mm.
like spin it and cherry pick it, and then just spin it to give all that to God
Yeah.
instead.
Wow.
So that's how they would sort of gather their information.
Fascinating because I didn't ever know that side of things. So yeah, I just learnt a lot
Yeah,
there. Wow.
yeah.
So with you personally, um, I remember you saying from around 10 years old, you went through a pretty difficult time. Can you
Mm.
elaborate on that a little bit?
My childhood is very blank. There are a lot of like suppressed memories. There's a lot of things that I don't remember in my childhood. I only started remembering things from the age of like 8 onwards, basically from like grade 2 onwards. From about 10, so grade 4, things started to get a little bit rougher on the bullying front when it came to school, um, for being a Jehovah's Witness. But kids will find anything to pick on, unfortunately. Um, and then that's where my habits, like I had a sexual self-soothing pattern, where from a young age I would touch myself just to soothe, and then that's what actually spiraled me into this big shame spiral from a very young age. I may have touched on it already from the last time we spoke, but it was like a big shame spiral of God is watching you and he doesn't like you doing dirty things. So from doing what children naturally do, like as a form of self-soothing and a form of curiosity, something feels good and they do it and it's just a natural thing. It was imprinted very early on that that was a bad thing, that was a dirty thing, and you were locked into a shame spiral very quickly. So that shame spiral, that escalated and that evolved. So when we got a family computer from, I think I would have been about 10 years old when we had a family computer. My my older brother, he was about 6 years older than me, and he started watching porn. He left a lot of porn on the family computer. I was exposed to it, and then my self-soothing that escalated and evolved into porn. So from quite a young age, that's when I started looking at it, because it wasn't quite as in your face and accessible as it is today. So it was actually very difficult, but to access it. But now it's very easy. But at the time, it was in my face and available to me. So that, along with the bullying, that's where I needed to up level the self-soothing, and that's where more of the isolation started to come in from, yeah, from about the age of 10. That's when my isolation started. That's where um, I started to get those depressive symptoms from quite a young age, and then that drip fed into teenage years, where the bullying got worse, the isolation got worse. When I went into high school, there were kids that always wanted to fight me. I think I only ever got into one fight. I think it was in year 10, so I was 16, and I hated it. I tried to avoid the fight as much as I could, because all I could think about was, I don't want to hurt this person. So I knew what that punch was going to feel like, and because I could feel it within myself, what that would feel like, and I just didn't want to inflict that on anyone else.
Sure. And so with that in mind then, because things were obviously coming towards you, other children with their that bully mentality, was there anything that you ever thought to revert to? Because I remember you saying in our pre-chat months and months ago about martial arts. That would have been actually
Mm.
quite handy, wouldn't it? Would that have had any impact on you at all?
Yeah, that would have been great. Um, especially with yeah, especially like I mentioned at the start, like with the brand and the kind of direction I'm heading with my content creation, about like resilience and being able to speak your mind, stand up for yourself. Martial arts would have been fantastic. I always wanted to do martial arts, but it was discouraged by the church. So
Yeah.
it wasn't something I was really allowed to do or encouraged to do. And if I was to do it, I'd be heavily judged and shamed. I wouldn't there wouldn't have been a disciplinary action as such, but the silence and the avoidance from them would have been just as bad. So it
Yeah.
was more of a, don't do that. Um, God will fix everything. Don't worry about it. Like, you just be there like a happy person. Don't worry about it. Jehovah's going to come in and fix all your problems in at some point in the future. So it doesn't mean anything right now. So again, just
Yeah.
like
Wow.
gaslighting and just that emotional neglect, just sweeping it under the carpet.
Gaslighting's a very interesting word, isn't it? I didn't know really what that was until even a couple of years after I was gaslighted. I didn't even know it was happening in the moment. So certainly as a
Mm.
child, what you're going through with people that you admire and love and care for, you just doesn't even enter your head, does it? So for Jehovah's Witnesses, for though I don't know much about their root, their reason for living and the reason for why they do what they do. And for those who are listening, don't have any clue. What is their goal? Do they have a goal, an overarching mission?
Mm.
Could you explain what that is?
Their mission is to convert as many people as possible, because they truly believe, and this is where it's interesting, and this is where it comes in with my parents. They truly believe that this is a matter of life and death. So it is an urgency that the world has not got long, according to them. Because everything that's in the Bible, there were like prophecies in the Bible stating that all the things that we're seeing now in the world today, with politics, food shortages, earthquakes being more rampant than ever before, what happens after that is the end of the world. So they had that doomsday kind of mentality. So that there was this sense of urgency to knock on as many doors as possible to try and preach the word or tell as many people as possible so that the Jehovah's Witnesses don't feel blood guilty. Because that's what it was compared to. If you have a life-saving message, it's your obligation to teach as many people as possible and to spread that to as many people as possible. So that's what I mean by they're not necessarily bad people. There's that cognitive dissonance where they don't even know what what they're doing. They don't like it is so real for them that it isn't intentionally manipulative or malicious or anything like that. There's that urgency to bring in as many people as possible before doomsday so people don't get killed at doomsday, basically. Or they call it Armageddon. So that's their mission, is to convert and bring in as many Jehovah's Witnesses as possible as soon as possible. So that is their goal.
Yeah. And this podcast is all about learning. I'm certainly not here to judge. I'm just here to, learn and hear your side of the story. So I needed to ask that because I tried to put my head into the viewers' minds as well and go for those who don't know what it was all about.
Yes.
So in terms of history then, we know how long Christianity's been going for. We always look at the Bible and the years and so on. How long does this religion go back for? Are we talking thousands of years? Give us a little brief on that. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
This is more of a branch from Christianity. So they still call themselves Christians because they still believe in Jesus. They still believe in the Bible. But they believe that Christianity as a whole has twisted the Bible to suit their needs and is quite hypocritical, but they're also guilty of it in the same sense. So they've been around. I think there was, I don't know too, I went down a big rabbit hole a couple of years ago to try and make sense of it all. So I don't want to say things that I've learned that aren't actually fact, but I think it's only been like a couple of 100 years that there was what's his name? There were a couple of names that kind of worked together to build on the religion, and they did it um, by educating people on the Bible more and what the Bible was saying. So they had a different interpretation of the Bible and to go in deeper what the visions meant and what was real and what was not real in the Bible. What's applicable today, what's not necessarily applicable today. So
yeah, wow.
that's
Okay.
only been for the past couple of 100 years. I've heard from a few people, and this is where I don't know my facts, so I'm just going to put it out there, but it was the two people that did come up with the concept were actually con men as well, and there were people that were paying for this kind of education, and then it's just kind of branched off into this massive thing of what it is now, because those people aren't alive anymore, and that's the cognitive dissonance around it, is that they've taken something, they haven't seen the original roots of it themselves, but I think it's like the monkey and the banana experiment with the cold water concept.
Oh, I don't know that. Maybe I do.
It's where it's a form of conditioning. So they put four monkeys in a room. Each time one of the monkeys climbs the tree to get a banana, the scientists or the researchers, they douse them with cold water. So they like punish the monkeys for it. So very quickly, the monkeys learn that going up the tree is a bad thing. So what they did, they started swapping out the original monkeys one at a time with new monkeys. So there'd be one new monkey, and the new monkey would climb up the tree, and the original monkeys would pull him down and start attacking the monkey because he was doing a bad thing. And then that eventually, when they swapped over all the monkeys, eventually it was all new monkeys, but they all have that same learned behavior. So yeah, so it's very, so that's the cognitive dissonance piece, is like they haven't really questioned it too deeply. They've just carried on the traditions and carried on the teachings, and they've just gone along with it.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. When you look at it, when you explain it like that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Hmm. All right. Well, swinging back to your addiction
Mhm.
with the porn cycle, how long were you in that cycle for?
20 years.
Wow.
Hmm.
So I mean, so you started it. So it's around 10. You're obviously leaving teenage period, early adolescence. You're going into your early adulthood. You, where does life take you in terms of your love life there? Then,
So in in the religion as well, there was no sex before marriage. So at a young age, I think I was 22, I got married. Um, and there was no real like you can't live together, you can't have sex, you can't really experience what a relationship is like. You just kind of need to know what your values are on paper, basically. Like they still teach
yeah,
you like don't just jump into a relationship for someone's good looks. They have to have um pardon me, they have to have spiritual values. They have to um have a good personality, that all the things that you hear today that are very important in a relationship. So but the deeper, healthier relating side, that's not necessarily taught, because they're teaching you, and they teach you very quickly, that they call it the threefold cord. They teach you that God is enmeshed in your marriage. So you've got the threefold cord that's really strong, with the rope that's attached, or intertwined. There's the husband, there's the wife, and then there's God. So that all resembles one uniting strong cord. I personally see problems with that, because then that's yeah, it can be used in as a negative as well. For instance, I'll give an example. I think a couple of years ago, um, my dad said something. He said something so like I remember laughing at the time because it was just so ridiculous. But I saw my mum's reaction, but he was so convinced by it. We were talking about the word adore, and my dad said, "I don't adore anyone but Jehovah." And my mum just like looked at him, just like a jaw dropped. And then he would go on and explain the meaning of the word, to what it means to adore something. So like really on a sacred level, and he would just go on this rant, and on this sacred level how he would adore God more than his own wife. So that's where it pedestalizes, and it creates this ability to triangulate as well. So it creates this
mm,
unhealthy dynamic as well. But that's I'm going into like other territory. But to answer your question, I got married very young, and those addictive patterns, they followed, because it was a very there wasn't much chemistry in the marriage as well. It was, and we found
yeah,
that out very quickly. And then the patterns that I hadn't healed, the things that I was trying to avoid, and from childhood, from my mother, they would show up in my wife at the time. I'm not saying anything negative about her as such. It's just those are the patterns. You are attracted to what you don't heal, basically. So
yeah,
that's what I did. I
yeah,
basically chose my mother again in another woman's body, basically. So those patterns
yeah,
played out. I continued to form that. I continued to fuel that resentment of my unhealed mother wound by watching women online and viewing them as objects as well, and just for my own gratification and my own self-soothing. So that carried through. And my ex-wife knew that I had an addiction to it. She knew that I had a problem with it. She just didn't know how much of it I was hiding. So I was hiding it from her in plain sight. I was a really bad liar, but she didn't really want to believe it. So,
Yeah.
you know, just stupid things that I was gaslighting, like, you know, I changed the passcode on my phone and then I blamed it on the Apple Cloud not glitching. So, oh, no, it's like, no, just, oh, when I do it, it's fine. Like, and then when you do it, I would just come up with the stupidest and dumbest excuses just to protect what was soothing me because I wanted that
Yeah.
more than the relationship that I was in because the relationship wasn't right for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that carried through. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. How? Sorry, I think there was a bit of a slight delay there. What was the depth that you went to in terms of if I was to look on your phone? Like, was it just porn, or was there other things you were going to? Were you having affairs online? Well, we're at the end of part one, and you know sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply witness someone else's truth, someone's truth, right? And Sean Feingold's truth is both heartbreaking and revolutionary. What we've just heard in part one is the foundation of a man who refused to let his trauma define his future, from the suffocating control of the Jehovah's Witnesses to the playground bullying that reinforced every message of unworthiness. Sean's early years were a masterclass in conditional love, and emotional manipulation. But here's what strikes me most about Sean's story so far. It's his ability to see beyond his own pain and recognise how these same patterns are playing out across our society. His mission to challenge misogyny isn't born from theory or academia. It's born from lived experience of what happens when boys are taught that their emotions are weaknesses and their worth is conditional. In part two, we're going deeper. We'll explore Sean's journey through addiction, his path to recovery, and how he's using his voice to create the safe spaces he never had as a child. We'll talk about his upcoming workbook designed to help men develop emotional awareness, because Sean knows firsthand what happens when we don't. This is just the beginning of Sean's story, and I promise you, part two will challenge everything you think you know about healing, masculinity, and the courage it takes to break generational cycles. If Sean's stories resonate with you, please share this episode with someone you know who needs to hear it. Please leave us a review on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, you get it. Your words help others find these conversations, and when they need them the most. And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, where you get your daily inspiration. You never know. You might get something extra. Who knows? Until Wednesday, keep leading your own way. Also, don't forget Tuesday Truths tomorrow. We'll see you then. Cheers. Bye. Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.